Hey, Kyle here on the range, and today talking to you about use of cover in barricades. And want to do a visual here with the camera because I'm going to use this orange gun to point at the cameraman. Typically what we see, a right-handed shooter coming out to the right side of cover, is they stick out way too far, especially to take a shot against the grain. You know, shots that are over here are easy, but it's when we have to work the cover and we actually have to start hunting for people that guys kind of screw it up. So typically what you see is something like this. As guys come out, they take a step. And that's because they're trying to keep themselves parallel to the cover. The way that I do it, instead of keeping my feet parallel to the cover, if I'm going to the right side, right foot goes forward. What that does, it puts my pelvis underneath the weight of my body, especially for tactical guys. If you've got armor on or a long gun, this is extremely important. My back leg actually kind of ends up getting in almost an aggressive athletic stance. So here's what happens. If I put a line right down through here where this 2x4 is, where the cover truly is, I'm going to go to the target that's right over the camera's shoulder. If you look at this, everything stays behind cover, and I've got that right there. The only thing exposed is what needs to be, the gun and my shooting eye. That's totally it. So everything down here completely covered. Something else to think about. Most people are right-handed. I think it's like 75–80% of people in the world. They're right-handed. Typically speaking, a right-handed shooter misses to 7 o'clock. So you're the camera right now. Where's 7 o'clock? It's right down here. So if you're the bad guy shooting at me, but I've got everything out here, I've got a higher percentage of something hitting me. If it's concrete, like the sidewalk I'm standing on or the street, we can even get a ricochet. We know from Iraq and Afghanistan that a high majority, I believe it's 80% or so, of wounds are lower extremity. So hugely important to stay behind this. One other thing with working the cover. A lot of people, when they practice, they'll get behind and they'll take these flank targets that typically aren't in front of the cover and shoot them. And a very easy thing to do. So they come back here and they're shooting a target over this way, and they're not what I call working the cover. They're not working it. So make sure when you're training that you have your cover and you have targets that are directly in front of it, or the most important part is make them against the grain off to the side. So if I'm coming to the right side, I want targets to shoot off to the left. If I'm going to the left side, I want targets to shoot off to the right. The same thing happens if I go to the left side. All I'm going to simply do is switch my feet around. What I'm not going to do with a pistol is switch my hands. A lot of people ask that question. I do switch shoulders with a carbine. If you think about a carbine, it's a shoulder-fired weapon, which means it's on one side of my body. The width of my body, about 18 inches, makes a big difference in exposing or keeping me concealed. But with a pistol, if you look at this right here, here I am shooting right-handed, here I am shooting left-handed, nothing really changes. So I'll actually keep everything the same, but I'll just switch the feet around and lean out. One of the other important points here, as I'm working this, get out of that parallel world that people live in with barricades. A lot of this comes from the competition world, and I'm not saying it's bad, but some of the competitive disciplines will let you slide with, you know, 50% behind cover, so to speak. So what I want to illustrate here is that when I'm working this cover, I'm actually not moving parallel to it. I'm actually moving at a 45. So if I get back behind here, get my feet right, I'm not moving out this way, I'm actually moving at a 45. And that's what makes the difference on me being able to cut down the angle to get that target right there. Last thing I want to point out about cover, and I would say that probably I'm more of a modern, I have the benefit of having guys that I work for that give me direct feedback every day, whether it's LE or military, that say this works, this doesn't, etc. So one of the things that needs to change, if it hasn't changed already, is when a reload needs to happen or a malfunction, people go, well, hey, where, I'm gonna suck behind cover to do my reload. All right, here's what I would give you. Real world experience here. Engaging a target and you run out of ammo. That target happened to be carrying a belt-fed machine gun across the courtyard. You duck down behind the wall, you do your reload, you pop back up. The guy that you originally engaged is there in the courtyard, the belt-fed machine gun's gone. What are you gonna do? Where'd it go? Right? You've created another problem. So here's what I say about that. If you're working cover, okay, if it's something you can handle, if it's a one-on-one situation, you've engaged a threat, and you know you've positively engaged him and you need to do a reload, I would keep eyes on that threat. I would reload, and I'd finish up my business. If it's you against a bunch of guys, then yeah, I would probably seek cover, conduct my reload, and I'd also probably move. All right, so there's just a little few tips on cover and concealment. See you in the range.